there folks, and how is it going? And welcome back to another video. Look where we are. In the middle of all this beautiful nothingness. We are at this wonderful town called Villanova de Mirafontes, which is the same places that we were from last week's video. And we came and stayed over here to wake up and hope that we had this really heavy fog, and we have got exactly just that. And the aim of the game really today is to photograph nothing. As crazy as that sounds and as exciting as that sounds, it's quality content 101 for you right here, folks. The idea behind it, my thinking is that I essentially just want to use this heavy fog to shroud everything. We all so used to seeing photographs of these epic kind of seascapes and vistas and all that kind of fun stuff, which are wonderful. But like I say, today I want to keep things very, very simple. They use this fog to my advantage to be able to mask everything but what I ultimately want. Now behind me here, there's some wonderful rocks and the slow lapping of the tide as it recedes. And it's really, really gorgeous. And we've got all of this beautiful beach and all of these lovely, lovely rocks that we can take advantage of down around the corner as well. So it's surely going to be a wonderful time. I think predominantly I might shoot most of this handheld just because I want to get nice and low to my subject, i.e. the rocks, and try and capture some waves. Might try a few long exposures as well. So yeah, lots and lots to look forward to. So stick around and don't let the idea of nothing deter you from this video. So let's set ourselves up, get shooting, and let's get going. So there are some wonderful, wonderful photographs to be had here using this incredible fog that we find ourselves shrouded in. I have just been down here, and I know I said at the beginning I'd shoot a lot of this handheld, and then I immediately went and got my tripod. But I actually popped the polarizer on as well, just to help bring that shutter speed down a little bit and to cut through some of the glare that's on the surface of the water. And I'm shooting at about half a second, maybe about a quarter of a second or so. And just trying to capture just this slightest bit of motion that's in the water to kind of complement the beautiful rocks that are here. And they're lovely and green. There's a nice pop of color in there too. So it's really, really gorgeous, and it's so peaceful and so quiet. You've got a couple of fishermen over here just chilling, which might make for a nice photo as well. But other than that, I am happy out and taken lots and lots of photographs, and it is really, really gorgeous. So if any of those pictures turned out to be any good, I'll pop them on the screen for you and walk you through them. Classic ASMR photography lab style.
Welcome friends to the ASMR photography studio, and welcome to this beautifully foggy morning here on the coast of Portugal. What an absolutely joyous thing to wake up to. I am so delighted that the fog actually happened, as it can tend to be a bit hit and miss, and wonderful, wonderful results. With this first particular image here, I wanted to keep things as simple as possible. Stone, water, nothing. And that's pretty much what we got. I really, really love the simplicity of this frame. The second image though, for me, I think really encapsulates that idea of a foggy morning at the beach. It's just this wonderful line that brings us all through the center of the frame to essentially this shrouded cliff that's off in the distance. And I really love the fact that you just about make out the silhouette of the cliff in the distance. Really, really love how these two images turned out, and a fantastic start to a beautiful morning.
So I have ventured past the rocks and out onto this lovely flat piece of sea as the tide is returning. And actually just behind is the those lovely reflection pools. But I am looking across now this way at these rocks, and that fisherman is standing so perfectly still, and I'm trying my best to, I've got about a half second of a shutter speed and he's not moving, and I really would like some motion in the foreground. Oh, like that. But other than that, I have been playing around with these rocks and the fact that there is just nothing behind us here because of the low cloud. It is starting to lift now as the sun has risen, and amble over this way and see if I can use the reflection pools. It's not going to reflect anything, but I just, in terms of nice leading lines, maybe I can get down nice and low and use some of those things. So if any of these pictures that I've taken over the last couple of minutes turn out, I'll pop them up on the screen for you now, and we'll continue on. It's so quiet and so peaceful.
These first two images that I'm going to show you here, simple. I wanted to try and keep things just as simple as possible. Like I say, it's always one thing that's very easy and nice to fall back on. It's just simplicity. With the first image, it's actually a blend of a few images because I wanted to make sure I was able to photograph and capture that sense of motion as it crashed around this little medium-sized rock, we'll say. And I really love the way that it turned out. The second image, again, like I mentioned in my ramblings at some point, I wanted to try and use these ridges of the tide pools, these reflection pools, as just a leading line to essentially bring us out onto the horizon, and that's ultimately what I tried to do. Now for this last image that you're going to see, I mentioned that there was a fisherman standing still, and oh man, he stood still so perfectly, and I absolutely love this image. I did purposely go a bit heavy-handed on the editing because I really wanted to emphasize that beautiful golden glow that began to bathe this entire coast as the sun started to break through that heavy fog from the morning. Really delighted that I was able to capture this. I actually chose this crop as well just to eliminate some of the foreground and some of that dead space that was in the sky, and I really wanted to give it a much more letterbox kind of cinematic feel. And as Orla, when she looked at it, it quite reminded her of something from Blade Runner, which I thought was kind of cool. So I'm really happy with how this particular one turned out.
So that was absolutely, really so wonderful. These little birds, I don't know, I think they might have been a little family. I have no idea what kind of birds they are, so please let me know in the comments if you do know. And some of them, they were like digging for food, and they were chatting with each other and having a good laugh in the morning. And as the light is starting to break through the fog, it was just so, it was so wonderful. It was so peaceful. And it was just nice just to watch them. And but yeah, it is just, it's magic. It's just pure magic here. Really fantastic. Now I'm going to try and get myself out of this particular area. I don't want to trample on too much, but one thing you have to always bear in mind when you are in places like this is to be as careful as possible. But it was absolutely worth getting my knees wet to come out and photograph those birds, because that was absolutely wonderful. And like I say, just so peaceful. So I think the dawn has truly begun and the sun is up, and it's really looking marvelous. Might wander over to the other side and see if we can find some compositions there. So let's have a little wander.
So here's a question for you. What kind of bird is this? Please let me know in the comments below if you know. I am delighted with how these particular images turned out of these wonderful, happy little birds. They were like beep, 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 all tweeting around the place and having an absolutely beautiful morning, just as much as I was. And I love the details I was able to capture in these frames. Super duper happy. One of the wonderful things about photoing wildlife in general is trying your best to get down as close as you can to eye level. Now that was kind of difficult for me because of the kind of what I was standing in. I really wouldn't have been able to lie down in the reflection pools. Tried my best to get as low as possible, but the reflections of the bird in the second image is just wow. It made the entire morning for me. It was absolutely gorgeous, and just watching them amble around and jump about was just so beautiful, and I really love how these images turned out. As I was making my way back through the stones and rocks that are on this beach, I couldn't help but notice this beautiful golden stone, and then it's just perfectly placed little snail. And it's very off the cuff, this picture, but I really am so happy with how it turned out. I think it looks really cool, and I'm really delighted I managed to catch it in my peripheral vision as I was making my way back to the shoreline. Such a beautiful morning.
So we have actually come up from the beach now, up to this beautiful, there's like a little car park and a roundabout. Classy, but it offers some wonderful views all the way looking back into town and all the way out over to the northwest. But we have set up here very precariously on this wall, as you can see, because it's quite harsh and you might not be able to see it so well here, but the fog is so heavy and dense back there, and it's actually acting as quite a beautiful shroud. And there's these wonderful boats that are parked out. This is the Mira River that's essentially flowing into the sea here behind us, and the fog is acting so well at shrouding these boats back there, and it's a real simple, clean, very ethereal kind of scene. So I'll pop up a few of these pictures now for you and walk you through them, classic ASMR Photography Lab style.
So folks, the fun has not stopped yet, and wow, what an absolutely beautiful turn of events we have here. Now, as you all may know, I am on a bit of a black and white kind of adventure. So the two pictures that I'm going to show you now are pretty much the same scene. The only real difference is the level of fog that you can see here. Firstly though, I love how these images turned out, and they pretty much made themselves black and white just because of how backlit and how harsh the whole scene was. But the level of depth that fog and mist creates is just so gorgeous, and I am thrilled that we were able to see a scene like this. But here is your task. I have processed these in two different ways. One, this particular image that you're seeing now is a lot lighter and a lot airier, and then next, this picture you'll notice is obviously processed a lot heavier, a lot darker, a lot more contrast in the frame. Now I like them both. I may tend to lean towards this particular style of edit just because that's just kind of the black and whites that I enjoy looking at. But I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts in relation to which style of black and white photography you lean into, whether it be the brighter kind of airier ethereal vibe or this kind of deeper, darker kind of heavy contrast scene. But I'm so delighted with this scene though. Overall, I think it was such a cherry on top for this whole morning. It was really gorgeous.
So folks, I think we will leave it here for this morning, and what an absolutely beautiful morning it has been. We covered many things, and I hope those pictures really turned out well and you all enjoyed them. Classic ASMR Photography Lab style. And I'm super delighted that we found this particular shot. Kudos to Orla for gleeing it in the distance. It's wonderful. This last particular scene that I photographed here now that you would have seen just a moment ago really is one of my favorites. It's wonderful. Anyways, newsletter. If you fancy reading rambles by me, you're most welcome to sign up to the newsletter. There'll be a link in the description below. And if you fancy joining along on a photography adventure here in the southwest of Portugal to photograph beautiful scenes like these, you're most welcome to head over to the workshop page on the website and have a look at the information for that. But for now, if you like the video, folks, do please hit that like button. And if you fancy following along for more adventures like this one, then by all means do hit that subscribe button. And I will see you on the next one. Cheers. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.